Hello everyone, welcome to January the 20th, which you can see in progress here. I'm afraid I've started without you this morning, but you haven't missed much. I'll tell you what's going on. I've just turned this round so I can get it easier. All that's happening here is I'm just doing blanket stitch around the edge of this block for today. So I'm working it kind of from the edge in to create a kind of border around the block. Right, what happens when you get to the corner here is, just poke that out of the way, just got maybe another one stitch to do there. I'm going to go across to finish that row, and then I'm going to come back up into that space to carry on travelling along this edge, and that will give you a nice neat corner. And I'm about to run out of thread, so let me just deal with that. It's annoying, isn't it, when you have to start a new thread just to do a few stitches. This, by the way, is Silk Pearl 8. It's one of my hand-dyed ones. I guess 2 strands of DMC would have a similar kind of effect. And then just to finish that last stitch off, I'm just going to do a horizontal straight stitch across there. Right, I've just started a new thread, and this one is a Silk Pearl 12, so it's another silk thread but slightly finer than the one I've used for the border. And incidentally, I quite often use this kind of frame device when I really don't know what to do. I just start by making an edge. And sometimes it gives you a kind of framework to put something in. And I still don't know what I'm going to do, but I've started this thread off here, and I'm probably just going to do some little running stitches. If we can stop that tangling up. And then we can just let those go wherever they want. They don't have to go in a straight line, we could make them go anywhere you want. You don't have to use the frame as a point of reference. You can match your lines up with the frame lines or not. And I think this is all I'm going to do. So while I'm stitching this, I'm just going to say a little bit about what these videos are and what they're not. So I'll say it again, there won't be a video every day. I'm getting messages from people saying, I've seen some of the January videos, where are the rest of them? There isn't one every day. I can't possibly make a video every day. I can't be available 365 days a year. So there won't be a video every day. And that's because, this is the other thing, it isn't a stitch along. Okay, I'm not ever going to tell you what to stitch or how to stitch it. To me, intuitive daily stitching is exactly that. It's a little oasis of peace and calm where you can just sit and place a few stitches and enjoy some peace and quiet without any stress, without thinking about it. You don't have to design anything. You don't have to think about how it's going to look. You're doing it for the joy of it. People often ask, what do you do with this when it's finished? I don't do anything with it. it is itself, you know, its function is to hold a bit of time every day. This is, you know, a few moments in every day. Its function is to hold time, it holds memories, and it provides an opportunity to just sit quietly, do something meditative and creative. It's the whole thing, it's a process. It's not, the value is in the process while you're doing it, not in having the finished thing. You know, we're not aiming to make a finished anything. This is just a cloth on which to place a few stitches every day. I've just started another thread here so I can come and fill in this other half. You can see it's a space dyed thread, so it changes colour every so often, and I really like that effect. So, where was I? Yes, it isn't a stitch along. So, I mean, by stitch along, what that means to me is that, you know, I give prompts or instructions about what to stitch. I will never do that, because you don't need me to. You know, it's intuitive daily stitching. So, pick up a needle and thread and place a few stitches and keep going. That's all you need to do. That's all it needs to be. Something else that seems to be causing a bit of confusion is people are asking to be signed up for the 2026 class. There isn't one. My intuitive daily stitching course, it's an online course, it's pre-recorded. It's a generic introduction to daily stitching, so it doesn't relate to any particular year. It gives you the techniques and the knowledge and opportunity to practice combining very simple stitches that you can apply to daily stitching in any year. Okay, so the online course is a standalone thing. It doesn't relate to any particular thing. You can use it with any of the templates. You can make up your own templates and do it however you want. So there isn't a 2026 class, and if you are doing daily stitching, I hope that you're finding that the more you stitch, the more ideas you have. So, you know, I can't stop anybody copying mine, but I very much hope you're not. You know, I hope you're maybe using mine as a kind of a starting point, and then you're very much going off and doing your own thing on it, because you can. There is nothing very difficult here at all. Just it literally is thread a needle, start stitching, see what happens. And you can do that, and everyone can do that. And it will be much more meaningful in the end if you have produced something that is entirely your own work. You know, it will be entirely your own work, entirely in your own style. I've seen lots of people sharing the work on Instagram, using this same template, and it's absolutely amazing how different they all look. They are all beautiful, but they are all very, very different, because stitching is a bit like handwriting, I always think. You know, you have your own style of doing it, and sometimes you can recognise an artist by the stitching, the same as you would recognise somebody's handwriting on an envelope. So again, the more you practice this, the more you will find your own style, and the more independent you will become, the more creative you will be, and I think the more satisfied you will be with your work at the end of it. Those are my thoughts. You tell me what do you think? Right, I'm just coming to this last corner here, I was going to do something else with these stitches. I was thinking about maybe threading another thread through there, which you could do, you know, sort of threading a running stitch would be, you know, passing another thread underneath it. Actually, I don't think I'm going to. I think I like that as it is. So I'm going to call that finished, I think. And nice and simple it was. So there we are. That's enough for today, I think. So now, the next bits of January are these 2 rows here. And if you're using my paper templates, you'll see that the numbering goes 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. The only reason it does that is because I like all the days to follow on one after the other. So this will be the 1st of February here. So the only reason I do this up and down snaky thing is so that I'll end up in the right place to skip from the 31st to the 1st. You can stitch in whatever order you want. You could start in the middle if you wanted to, but you know, there are 365 blocks. You don't have to do them in the right order. There isn't a right order. You decide. You know, you decide what's right and what's wrong. You can't possibly do anything wrong on this because there are no rules. Okay, so relax, pick up a needle and enjoy.